Hello, everybody. So we have our starting scene in Blender, and today we will see some important geometry node features. We will not delete the cube. Let's pair it this time. And let's go to geometry nodes first. On the top left, we have the list of points. We don't really need it, so I will collapse it, and I will add geometry nodes. And here we have the group input and the group output. Now, first things first, I will show you something interesting. We can go to Mesh and Primitives, and we have all the mesh here. Now here what I will do is, let's add a cylinder and we'll drag the mesh to the group output and we see something interesting. So it is still named cube, but instead of the cube, this is now a cylinder. And instead of the cylinder, we can also add, let's say, a cone. And if I simply drag it here, now we will have a cone, but the name is still a cube. So we all know that all mesh have the same symbol. So if I add a UV sphere here, although this is a UV sphere, the symbol is the same. And that's how it is. So in the geometry nodes, what we generally do is we try to procedurally generate stuff, but it is not directly related to our regular viewport. And we are done with our cube in this way. Now, let's see another node, very important, and this is called transform. So transform geometry. And what does this do? Right now, it's not doing anything. So here, as we can see, there is translation, rotation, and scale. Now, we all know that with the G button, we can basically translate it in any direction, and G with G, X, Y, Z in any direction. Similarly, with R, we can rotate, and with S, we can scale. That is the same thing. That is what we are doing in the geometry nodes with the transform geometry. So translation, it will go in the X direction. If we change the Y value in the Y direction, in the Z in the Z direction. And why this is better? Uh, Better or worse is relative, but in a way you can say this is better because we can animate it. So for example, I will add it here and in the, let's say, let's make it 50. And here, let's give it a 2. So now if I run this, as you can see, we have a simple animation. So these are the things that we can do with geometry nodes, which may be a little bit tricky or difficult to do regularly. So this is why we use these things. Now the next very important node that we will see is called the join geometry. So one problem that we found is if I drag this mesh, it becomes a cylinder. And if I drag this mesh, let's say, we have a cone. And what this joint geometry will allow us to do is basically it will allow us to merge these two, basically this to mesh. So it will look something like this. So it doesn't really look good. And that is why we have this transform geometry. And let's do one thing. Let's take the something like this. Yeah, it sounds like some sort of a pencil. And here one more thing you can see is that where we have the cylinder as well as our cone, we have the vertices, side segments, etc., and many things. So, for example, vertices we have 32. If I zoom in and simply increase the vertices, you can see that the cylinder has many more sides. And if I just make it 16 instead of 32, um, it looks different. Now, this is also something that we can do in our regular viewport, but this will be more difficult going forward. So, in geometry nodes, what we can do is basically we can have some values and we can change it anytime during our course of animation or our design. So that is one added advantage. Now, lastly, although this is like a pencil or whatever, um, okay, here we have the depth as 2. If I simply do the depth as 4, as you can see, it becomes bigger because pencils are generally much bigger. So let's make it 10. 10 is, I think, too much. Let's make it 6. And let's also keep the cone at 3. So this looks more like a pencil now, but there is a little bit of a problem, and that is it is not smoothed. So if I simply do a shade smooth here, it will not work because we are doing it using geometry nodes. Now, shading smooth is a little bit tricky. We do have a set shade smooth here, but it will show some weird results because what we want to do is basically we want to do a shade auto smooth. And there is nothing called shade auto smooth. And so this is a little bit tricky. The reason this is happening is because the shade auto smooth feature is still inside our group input. And if I also drag it into our geometry, you see another problem, and that is we also are having our sphere. So we will see this going forward. But for now, what we can do is we can just keep our pencil and we can just maybe increase the vertices to 100. And here in our cone also 200. And it will look smooth. It is not smooth although, but it will kind of look smooth. And yeah, this is some sort of a very basic pencil, you can say that. So we will see more videos on geometry nodes, and I will see you soon with another very interesting video. So see ya.